But I guess I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette real quick while we wait for everyone to get on. I do kind of think maybe we could pick up a little bit of a topic. Uh, David, what were you just talking about a moment ago? What were you just talking about before I interrupted?
Um,
Using my rage and relentless attack,
yeah,
so that way I can use my dex bonus from being a rogue.
yeah, just helping him optimize. Trying to javelin everything when he can just be the angry fencer.
So let's talk about rogue. Let's talk about rogue builds. I have a personal favorite rogue build. I'm very partial to an arcane trickster. I love when you tie all the things that a thief can do with a little bit of magic, and it's just beautiful.
I am a fan of the swashbuckler myself,
Yes.
but then again, me, I have a I have a little bit of a background with fencing and rapier fighting, so it has a special place in my heart.
I second Swashbuckler.
I think one of my characters that I played with you, Patrick, was actually a variant of a rogue. Hexblade?
Hexblade is a warlock. Um, I was going to say something about when you were saying like warlock, where a hexblade is somewhat roguish. It's like, yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you're going to do like a multi-class build, a a, a using a warlock and a swashbuckler, using a hexblade swashbuckler would be disgusting because um, a swashbuckler is a dex charisma build, and one of the best warlock builds are charisma dex.
And forgive me, what I'm thinking is hex blood, not hex blade,
Ah,
which hex blood is technically roguish in origin, whereas hex blade is
hex isn't that isn't hex blood a variant class,
what is it?
variant race?
I believe it's some sort of addition that came with the critical role. In fact,
You might be thinking Duskborn. No, Duskborn. I think it's something else.
Blood Hunter.
The character was either a hexblade or I want to say it was a duskblade.
Blood Hunter is
Either
what
way, he had a gem embedded in his body that he could use to pretty much create any bladed weapon.
Yeah, about your Dusk Blade. Do you remember the name you gave your Dusk Blade?
I do not. I barely even remember that character.
I hated the name that you gave your Dusk Blade. It's the most unimaginative name, even less imaginative than Chad. It was Bob.
That's right, Bob.
Bob was a half fiend from 3.5. Duskblade from his homebrew content that he found. Eventually, throughout the game, he eventually obtained basically very fiendish powers from a very chaotic god. And he is what we now know as Ball.
Oh, I remember this conversation. That's right.
And Ball has his importance in this story.
Ball is the one
Yay.
that my gnome teleported the half-drow paladin onto Ball's back, so she surfed him down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty epic. It was like Gandalf fighting a Balrog fight. Man, it was pretty awesome. But it was Nadaline, this paladin, riding this pit fiend down into the. It was the elemental plane of fire, so it was just basically down into endless fire. You know, there was no real end. It was just, let's go down now. We'll just continue going down for a long, long time. Of course, Paul would bleep out of existence at that moment in time and make his way back to a very unhappy place.
Yeah, but having a half-drow paladin of vengeance, riding on his back while beating him with a magic sword, that was fun.
We saw Ball return again towards the end of that campaign. You guys had another run-in with him. Lady Vel helped out by banishing him, using high-level magic to banish him and his minion moving from the battlefield. It was an epic affair. Chris should be getting on momentarily. He was the one that did the writing. In his Nadaline pants.
It is hilarious to hear about old characters that we made back in the day and come to find out other people have interacted with them and whatnot.
Yeah, that's how I do that. You remember
I love it.
Jarlaxle, right? You remember the name Jarlaxle, right?
Yes.
Well, that was David's character.
Okay.
So you guys have closer ties than you guys think through me and the way I DM. Basically, I keep everything. I keep the stories that we do together. They become the history of my world, or at least laced within it. And your characters help populate it.
See, with this being 100 years past the last campaign, I am really curious to see what the fight for goblin equality has developed.
There are places in this world.
So there was a certain organization that you had in one of the campaigns, and it stuck with me all this time. Well, they might have been resurrected in another campaign by me. My current DM is not too happy that there is now pretty much a league of assassins in his world. So I do have to say thank you for that one. It's a great idea.
Curtis is finishing up with his pup, and he'll be on momentarily.
They even go as far as leaving the handprints in locations so that way that certain people can find them.
I've learned to, I had been for a while just retrieving all my files, recorded files from Twitch, uploading them there, and then moving them over to my other computer and doing all those things. And it turned out to be an extra step I really didn't need to do. And it was painstaking because sometimes my stream would be interrupted by unstable internet. And so I'd have to patch those together, and I'd lose a little bit of content. But so instead, I'm recording as well as streaming, which is really nice. Fun. little things we want. Been did some work in some video editing over the holiday weekend. Gotta get back into the EU. Caught up. I'm a couple episodes behind still.
Oh, come on.
We have a great. How you doing, Chris? Chris, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. I can hear
Okay.
you also.
May just chill. He's having connectivity issues. He sometimes does. I'm sure he'll figure it out momentarily. So, what is it about the swashbuckler that you guys love so much?
The fact that the swashbuckler is basically
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah, my cat had chewed on the cords on my computer, so I had to unplug the webcam. I totally forgot it was unplugged, and it's my mic right now.
So what I like, so what I was like I was saying, what I like about the swashbuckler is the fact that it is not the sneaky, you know, the old, you know, the stereotypical sneaky. I'm going to, you know, hide in the shadows like a coward and then hit you in the, you know, find the opportune time to hit you. You know, it's not like that. Dude from Conan the Destroyer. I can never remember the character's name. But you know, it's more of the in your face. I'm going to talk mad crap about you and aggravate you to the point where you can't think straight, and I am going to poke you so full of holes that we can use you you know, we can use you as a cheesecloth, and you know, when we're done. Bless you.
That's a very interesting take. Thank you, David. What about you, Matt? What makes you love the swashbuckler? Is it the same reasons?
So sorry, Matt is busy.
Matt is probably being daddy right now.
Yes, sorry, Matt's busy.
Like I said, he's probably being daddy.
What about you, Cody? What's your favorite rogue archetype? Or are you just learning about the rogue?
No, I've been playing rogues for a while now. Probably have to say either the assassin or I believe it's the not remember the name for it. But every time something dies, you can get a soul trinket. Trying to find it right now.
Oh, is that the Phantom?
Yes, I believe so.
And why are those your favorites? What is it about them that makes it your favorite?
Because you don't really realize how much death actually happens around you until you get like something for every death you witness. I think by the end of that, yeah, just horrible.
Okay.
Pretty much
Yeah.
tallies up how much massacring your character and your party has done. You were supposed to just be talking to him.
So, Chris, what we've been discussing is what's our favorites and why. Do you have a favorite rogue archetype?
Rogue archetype. It's funny because most of my experience with that class was in second edition, and that was when they were still called thieves. I guess I find I like the basic like burglar / pickpocket type. When I'm
So that would
when
be
I'm
thief.
really just a regular thief type. For I like the guild atmosphere, like the thieves guild atmosphere, and the sneaking and the hiding in shadows and the trap thing and being able to pick locks and the pickpocket aspect, and you can end up really interacting in a street setting or a bar or a really crowded community area. I like that aspect of the character. I like how the lack of like skill, at least in old school, it didn't have powers like spell abilities and didn't have a lot of it had basic fighter or combat rankings, but it wasn't over the top. You could fight, but what made that class really interesting and fun was all the different side skills and things you can do and all the different abilities that came with it. I like that aspect. And like the other person was just talking about, and I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about the assassin in a long time, but back in second edition, it was actual another class. But I really like the assassin class too because of the disguise, and you could be just about anybody. You could really use a lot of different aspects. Some of my more favorite evil characters to play back in the day were assassins, assassin priest, and assassin mage combos. It made being able to do that type of character class and maybe pull a job or something really fun and entertaining. I haven't played an actual rogue or assassin in a game in a long, long time. But there just depends on the party structure too. Sometimes it's difficult to play one because if you have a mixed group in your group, say like let's say you have a paladin in your group, and then you have a priest of some good alignment, and then you have the other varying groups players like maybe a bard and a fighter and so on. If you're that one rogue archetype, they like you for the fact that you can pick locks and detect traps and do things, but if you're doing what you want to do sometimes, they don't like it. So you have to be really on your game and really kind of in tune with what your other players are doing to be able to play your character properly without causing a whole lot of strife in your group and a lot of stuff you ended up doing behind people's back. Um, there was a couple books back in the day. It was like kind of there was a character named Tasselhoff Burfoot. He was in the Dragonlance series. He seemed to always be holding everybody's stuff, and people just got to the point where like, oh, he's got it. There was always fun parts about thieves, Might as well just let him carry all the money because one way or the other, he's going to end up with whatever he wants anyway. But yeah, I don't know if that answered the question or if I just rambled on beyond what you wanted.
No, you're fine. That's awesome. I love the information, the feedback I'm getting. Um,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things. Yeah, you're right about though with a rogue though. One of the things you have to be careful of is, you know, be mindful that you of if you are going to steal from the party, because that is a cardinal sin.
It's generally something that if you actually are with the party and you're actually trying to be beneficial to that party, you generally make them off limits. And
Yeah.
you usually kind of safeguard them from other people in your line of work as well. Now, everybody else, not so much. But
Yeah. Yeah. So you see these 5 guys over here? I like these guys. They're off limits.
yeah. And there's sometimes where if you're a rogue and you meet a party, you're not telling them you're a rogue. You're like, hey, I'm just I'm pretty decent with a sword, and I can get into places that might be harder for other people to get into, or
Like
open.
Chad.
Yeah, but just depends. It's a real fine line you walk.
Oh yeah.
And the other part of it is, and this is the downside of playing a rogue in a mixed party, because if you want the whole aspect of what a thief or a thieves guild brings, it's very difficult to do it for a DM when only one player is playing that character. Now, I'm not saying it's not doable, but there's a lot of things that have to be sidebar style stuff, or a lot of things that are note passed or some private messages back and forth, and some side deals going on, because you might be going along with a party as a thief in a group to have on some big mission, but then your guild says, hey, since you're going to be in that town, you need to grab this in that building while you're there and bring it back with you, and we'll give you twice your normal cut if you can pull that off. So that might be even, and it's a lot of DMs tend to just not have a lot of function toward individual players. It's something that when I run a game, and David and Pat know, um, especially Pat, I try to give every character and their class, I try to give them something that's unique to them, so that they're able to do stuff where their character's concerned, but still have something going on in a whole group function as well. That way as well, let's say I have a group get together and there's not enough people to play the session I was going to play. Everybody's always got something going on they could be doing, and sometimes it can be worked into a little mini adventure or something on the side. But rogues are one of those classes that you have to kind of, it's the person running the game has to really be able to maneuver what's going on with them and other players at the same time, or else you can lose that character. And when you have all these characters that can cast spells and they're using all these really cool magic items, there's a lot of items that aren't fit for a rogue or a thief to use, and that are not geared toward them, with the exception of like bags of holding and rings of invisibility and the basic stuff. But they can fall between the cracks and really kind of feel like they're like the odd man out in a group, because it's not generally a power class, if you follow what I'm saying when I say a power class.
Yeah, I completely agree with the whole aspect of the Thieves Guild and all that entails. It's a whole different world. Um, and as you said, it could be a world that is not comfortable for certain classes to be in, to say the least. and those interactions should be a little more tongue in cheek. Um, Agreed. That's totally. But yeah, it's always fun when you get into playing, the different rogue archetypes and so forth.
The one thing, you had your headphones off when I said it, Pat. The one thing I closed with on there was a big part of it is if the DM isn't really aware of everything going on, it's really easy for a person playing a rogue or an assassin or some sort of class in that format or a kit in that format to get lost between the cracks because they're not typically a power class. And a lot of magic items are geared toward them. And it's almost where when I DM, I'll create unique items to give to different characters so they have something that fits their character class. But in some cases, there's a lot of times when you play games where the DM is just very vanilla and it's just a cut and dry deal. And you're playing your class and it is what it is. And you're just luck of the draw. I'll take that if I can get it. And if I can use it, great. But there's aspects of the game that get lost with certain character types based on what's going on in each particular game and with each particular DM. And a lot of times I'll play classes based on what a party needs and what I think the DM is going to make more enjoyable for me. And a lot of times knowing your players and your DM is huge. You got to know what you're dealing with so you can make sure that your self view of your character you can translate to a DM so that DM can provide the right experience for you. Or else you might have an idea for what you want to do with your character, but if you can't let the guy running the game know what you have in mind and what you're looking for in the game, one, they can't do anything for you if they don't know. And if you're just hoping that DM is going to do stuff that's in the realm that you want going on, kind of going to miss out. So a lot of it has to do with communicating with the DM as to what you're looking for with your character and what you have in mind that you want to do.
It's been a little while since we played Nightfall. Been a couple of weeks. It always is. Does anyone want to go ahead and get started with a recap of what happened the last time we played?
Oh boy.
Fun session, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Take us through it.
Oh, wait. I was not here. I got to fill in. I can't wait to hear David's version of this.
So, as we were starting, Dell was talking to some of the people from the boat who were coming from Chimeria about the volcano and the water supply, and now there is a giant protective magical dome over the village. Dell had then seen the troll that was being the dismembered and messed up troll that was brought through and flipped their shit.
Was that the troll we had killed at the water?
Okay. The one you killed in the woods? Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's just like, because it was like, here, make stuff for me. And that was like the last straw. Dell flipped out. It's like, I'm done. Everybody get your stuff. Get out of my house. I don't want anything else to do with any of you. Ow, cat climbing.
Yeah, I just went down because she was doing the same thing to me.
Yeah, but I don't want to. She's old and bony, so. After having a conversation with Lucius, he's kind of cool with Dell. The straw that actually did it was while Dell was having a rant, Willow decided to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on Dell to try to calm them down.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that was the final straw. Because it's like, okay, you guys are making demands of me, bringing strange animals and creatures into my house. messing with my yard, doing all of this stuff without my permission, without my consent. I can't take it anymore. So everybody out. And then there's also a expedition. Yes, Patrick? Okay. So there's also an expedition to the volcano that Dell has been asked to go on to investigate matters further. If anybody from the group wants to go, that's their business. Dell can't stop you, but don't get in their way. And that's about. Ow. That was about it. A week before, though, Dell had outed themselves as a book-educated woman because of the duel between two very narrow-minded monks.
All right. So, we have a friend of ours, Wicked FPV.
You are muted, Patrick.
We have a friend of mine, Wicked FPV, also known as Dustin, a player of mine, one of my many, many players. I'm blessed with an overabundance of players. I have an easy baker dozen of players I can pull out of my pocket almost any time, and Dustin is one of them. He was asking about, Vel, because he kept on hearing you talking about Dell. It's kind of funny that he confused the two. He almost thought that you were Lady Vel. So why don't we go ahead and get in a little bit of a to help our viewers in Twitch right now, being Dustin and whoever else may be in there. Let's go ahead and get a recap of our characters. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and start with our characters and our players. I'm going to start with David. David, you were talking about Delmont Summermall. Why don't you tell us a little bit more?
Delmont Summermall, born Stella Cooper. From where did we agree that she was from again?
You were originally from a place called Olane. You're actually from the capital. You've been there before.
Okay. So poor farm girl, lowest of the, no money, no nothing, was just pretty much considered, oh yeah, dumb girl, not that, not pretty, just breed, just enough to, marry them off to some other farmer to consolidate families. Well, she's brighter than. So, she was developing farming techniques, tools, and implements to make things easier, which her brilliance fell on deaf ears and eyes. So she ran away one night, started calling herself Delmont Summermaw, found herself in Red Clover Fields, and up until just the other day, everyone thought that she was just a very small man.
And
who was the local eccentric blacksmith and inventor in the village as well.
And the inventor living in a very popular watermill that needs to get a new door knocker, apparently, because it is getting worn out.
No door knocker. I'm gonna see if I can just put like one of those like almost like a can on a string kind of thing, like an intercom, a medieval intercom. If I can do that, that would probably be best. That way, wherever it's like, what do you want? The wizard is not here.
Series of tubes to send your voice.
And so that'll take me to Chris or Drake, which is playing Alia. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that character?
I'm sorry. Alia she's a wood elf. She's she's from not around here. She's from a different continent, and she's kind of on a journey of personal discovery, and she left home to kind of learn about what she's made of and kind of figure out more about what she was looking for in life. And she was brought up in a location where her family had a pretty solid setup, and she really didn't have to work too much for where she was at. So she was looking to kind of adventure and find herself and kind of make her own name for herself because she was living in her family's shadow. But she's she's very much nature oriented since I mean she's a ranger, but she dabbles in spell casting as well. On a magic side. She she has an affinity for animals and just about any type of creature that if she can save it, she'll save it, if it's possible. Um, and she's extremely loyal to friends and companions, and so much so that her original trek was to try to help someone restore their memory and figure out who they were, which that's kind of been set on the side, but part of that has already been taken care of. Other than that, she's she keeps a lot of other personal stuff kind of close to the chest, close to the vest, and is shares personal information on a very need to know basis, and she doesn't overly trust that many people, and that's pretty much Alia at a point. But she carries a sword and a bow, and she's pretty proficient with both, and she's not afraid to hurl a spell if need be.
Indeed. And you actually refer to a particular gentleman that was played by Andrew, um, which I'm trying to remember his name now.
It was Alistair.
Alistair. Alistair has been in the lighthouse um, for some time. Uh, but he we'll see what ends up transpiring with all that. He's still around and all that stuff. And if Andrew ever makes his way back, we'll reintroduce his character as that. But for right now, I'm just going to keep him as a DMPC or a NPC. And if you want to go to the lighthouse to talk with him or do anything with him, there he be. Okay, um, he is not that far off. So I want to make sure you know that he is still in town. Um, Continuing, okay, that's going to take me to Curdy or Chad. Chad Dudley.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that character? Tragic
Well,
story.
give me 1 second. Just in the other room, making sure my connection's not gonna drop out. So it's Chad. As far as the party knows, he's an adventure extraordinaire. But he actually lives a double life. He's a professional bounty hunter, and he's been drawn to Red Cloverfield with tips that a certain person of interest is lurking around there. Well, while he was there, he encountered him. He got his butt beat. he he limped back to the inn and didn't say anything to the party. Nothing. He's pretty much keeping the fact of who he really is on the down low. He doesn't want to out those details to the wrong person.
Who is this? Who is this now?
This is Chad Dudley.
Okay.
As far as y'all know, adventure extraordinaire.
Oh, this is the Chad. Okay.
The Chad, yes sir. Super charming. He's quick with the wit. He often offends people, but doesn't mean to. He's just a little arrogant.
All right.
That
Matt- Sorry.
pretty much sums it up.
And after Chad, we have Lucius. Lucius, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character? Or, sorry, Matt, why don't you tell us a little about Lucius?
My character's so good, I don't even have a real name. Lucius is giving up on his original life, I would say, in the form of giving up his memories in exchange for his magical abilities as a warlock. He has no memories of his previous life and has thus begun to travel with this his companions, this band of oddities, if you will. He has a side hobby of kind of like collecting other people's experiences and memories in stories and tales he keeps in a library inside of his vessel. But he's just trying to I guess do his thing, experience more stuff, and do him.
All right. Well, as Lucius does him, Kythos is doing himself. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Kythos, Chris?
Phrasing.
Well, I'm Curtis. I go by Kythos on here. I'm a tiefling monk, Way of the Kinsey. I've had a couple different, I guess, well, one sensei come up and, give me a book of knowledge to read, and then had another martial arts master to say that I should stop reading books and follow her. So I'm kind of torn between the two of what should do, but I'm just about finished with the one book, so we'll see how things go.
Last but not least, we have Amanda, otherwise known as Gaia. Gaia, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character?
Hello. Gaia is a Kalistar druid, Circle of the Moon. Her powers are focused mostly on turning into animals for combat purposes. She is sort of on like a mini mission of like world peace, kind of sort of. To sum it up, she wants peace between the current modern world and nature, so there's no fighting and that everyone can live peacefully.
All right. And as we enter into the 10 o'clock hour, which is technically when I have scheduled to start this stream, I'd like to go ahead and get into a recap myself. A recap of what really has transpired this far in our little story. We started off with a group of adventurers making their way to the small town of Red Clover Fields. They found themselves lured upon a venture, making their way north to see about some bear. On the way, they ran into some kobolds with the help of Willow, our bard, which his music ended up attracting the attention of our kobold friends, which later transpired into a companion known as Nyx. But Delmont, to conceal being a woman, made her way to the side of the road to relieve herself, privacy. At which time, he was attacked by a spider, which was hiding under the ground. The party quickly sprang into action to save Delmont and continued to make their way north to deal with the bear, and brought that to a negotiating type of a solution with the help of Gaia, our druid, which brought a way for the lumberjacks and these creatures to still inhabit the same area without, continuing the attacks. It was very creative by the party squad. They later returned to deal with the spiders yet again. Found that it was a bigger problem than they originally knew. Some ettercaps and a bunch of problems with people disappearing. They ended up wiping out these ettercaps and the spiders and also a portion of the forest in turn. Meanwhile, while this is going on, there is a race for sheriff. Delmont has been raised to the platform of fire marshal, and eventually this character named Judge, which would help them with putting an end to the spider menace, as our friend Willow liked to put. And they've been hailed as heroes. This small little town of Red Clover Fields. And it's from that when I was creating this game, I felt like Nightfall. Nightfall, what a great name. But really what Nightfall insists is that darkness. Okay. Well, darkness has come to the town of Red Clover Fields. And Red Clover Fields is the home of a shining light, a beacon, which is these heroes trying to do their best to protect Red Clover Fields from the darkness. And that darkness has continued to grow as once they dealt with the ettercaps, they were introduced with a new problem. This volcano apparently has erupted and sending all kinds of havoc upon the ecosystem, threatening life at a great rate. So much loss from the town up north. Luckily, a circus, which was brought to the town of Red Clover Fields, drew a lot of the populace away, which helped mediate a lot of loss of life. But that life is clinging as they are still working together in Red Clover Fields in order to try to help all these refugees. Refugees that were, uprooted from this catastrophe. Well, now a noble has come, which was said to start up a school, an ambassador from a land far away that David had mentioned called Chimera or Chimera, I believe he referred to it as. And they insisted on trying to help this small town grow. Why exactly? Not really sure, but it's something to do with something the mayor has going on with a tower that's going to be constructed out here, a school, a fount of knowledge, and as this town is now the last defense against the frontier, whereas the fort that was north of here was originally, but now that fort is all but gone, and the town that resided outside the fort also gone. This noble wants to bring the party up north to take a look at what they're dealing with, as all we've had right now is just the aftermath of what it's doing to the area. But the origin of it still has a bit of mystery behind it. And I believe the last time that pretty much sums up in a nutshell what the grand part of it is, this story. Now within that, there's all these different little storylines that you may have heard from our different characters, and I think that's important as we go along to delve into those character stories as they make them, you know, they give life to this story as a whole. It is a collaborative storytelling, even though there's a story that's driving. The actual storytellers are as much my players as it is me, and it's fun to enjoy that together. Now then, with that all said, we find ourselves at the watermill, having rested for the evening. And with the morning coming, what would you guys like to do? Let's go ahead and get this game started.
Well, I'm gonna smoke a morning bowl.
Okay.
Cat's gonna come down, get his coffee, and then head to the rendezvous point.
The dock.
Yeah.
Also coffee, yes. Wake and bake.
I think I am getting ready to leave. So I'm preparing for adventure.
So, so since I probably didn't get much sleep from my door being knocked on at all hours of the night, and I don't even know who's staying in my house right now after my my expulsion of everyone. But I'm gonna grab my tools, grab TikTok, and head towards the dock, sucking down whatever caffeinated coffee, tea. If I have to like chew on a piece of tree bark to stay awake, I will do that.
Okay. So yeah, you between all your projects and all the traffic you've been having, of course, sleep may be difficult for you. If we are in fact suffering from some sleep deprivation, uh, we could go as far as taking you one step down the condition track. We want to go that far.
No, it's
More role play. Got it. Making sure.
yeah.
Okay.
That is going with Lucian.
Okay. Lucius, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And Lucius, where were you headed?
I believe we're on a trip to the volcano.
Okay. You just say you were getting ready to leave, but I didn't exactly know where you were wanting to go exactly. So, all right. So, yeah, you guys all make your way to the docks. I'm assuming that you're coming as well, Alia and Kythos, um, Chad, all of you.
My character would be at the windmill, where where Spin had been hanging out.
That's correct.
I guess my character isn't really aware of all the the stuff that transpired between the party and Delmont at this point. So what's going on at the dock?
You may have heard a little bit of it from Willow as he came or she came. Actually, when she arrived at the windmill, I believe you were not there. So yeah, you don't know much about it. But you do know
I haven't
that
been to the Willow went to the window.
That's what I was talking. Did I say Delmont? I may have said Delmont, but I meant Willow. But yeah, so you do remember that there was a trip going up north to take a look at the volcano. So that may drive you to make your way to the docks in the morning, unless you'd like to do something else.
I'll head to the dock and see what the group is gonna do and how who all is going and all that. I get up, I'll put a Twitch in my gear. That's the squirrel. I'll leave a Spin at the windmill and head to the dock.
Indeed. Delmont, as you're waking up and making your way downstairs and so forth, you go by your desk and make yourself a cup of coffee or something like that. And you find a small leaf that you recognize as one of Willow's little leaves, and there's some writing on it. You examine it as you're sipping your coffee. It says that he's had another occurrence with this hag, one of these dreams. He doesn't feel like he should be making the trip, and he has to return home off to his home for the time being. He will return in a couple of days, he says.
Hags. I need to find a way to spray for him.
And that's another one of the things that the party's been dealing with is they've all run into their own little bits of problems sometimes. And Willow has contracted a very particular parasite that, like a night hag, which is not the parasite. But you all make your way to the docks, and there you do find a small crew there that is loading up some supplies onto the ship. The what would the keep on? I have to look at my notes to find out what I actually named him, but he has an official title at the dock. He is the
Harbor Master?
Harbor Master. Thank you very much. He actually sees you guys approach. Okay, he's like he recognized you, of course. He's like, oh yes, well, right this way. I was told to get you whatever you needed and make sure that you make your way safely aboard the ship. Of course, you do know that the possibility of you getting wet is a very real possibility. I don't know what you know about ships, but anything you drop over the side, it's gone. Just imagine it being gone. He's trying to explain to you as though he's never seen any of you on a ship before. He doesn't know that you guys know anything about ships, he says, but I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll be safe. This ship seems shipwright. And he motions for you to go ahead and board. As you do, the um, the crew, of course, muscles up and helps you get yourselves situated on the deck. And you see a lady, Alyssa, make her way out to join you. She greets you with of course, a smile. She says she's very pleased that all of you have come to make this venture up north. Thank you for your timely attendance.
So they're taking the boat up to where the volcano is.
Indeed, they want to get a closer look, see what they're dealing
with. And just to see what's going on with the volcano.
Correct.
Okay.
Has asked you guys to assist. She, okay, turns to the cabin, and you see a very short, portly man come out. He says, "Greetings. My name is Augustus M. Burns, Montgomery Burns, a cartographer of sorts. Very short man, very little glasses and so forth. He has a bunch of little scrolls and so forth under his arm. He says, I don't believe that we're dealing with a volcano, he says. I've been looking into this, that, and the other, talking with the good lady, and I'd like to speak with you, Mr. Delmont, if you may. I've been told that you are quite adept with tinkering and such. You are muted. You are muted. David, you are muted.
Thank you. I'm adept with I know my way around a tool set or two, and if you can see by my 7-foot metal friend here. By the way, TikTok, can you please help the loading of cargo?
Oh yeah, okay. He writes his glasses like you made this this creature, this construct.
Yes.
Without magic.
Yes.
Amazing. The wonders. This volcano. I tell you, the reason why I don't believe that it is a volcano is simply because it's in the wrong place. see, there's a cult there that was believed to be in the area, but it's much further east than the location in which leads me to believe that there may be magic involved. And Lady Alyssa, she agrees with me. Indeed, I do, Mr. Burns. And that's why I've asked for you all to come, as I know that you are quite adept with the dealing with of magical creatures and so forth. Eticaps and whatnot. You are the local frontiersmen, are you not?
May I make a let's call it a glass blowers check? Because I figured that would be a best equivalent to regard volcanology and pressure.
Okay. All right.
So that is intelligence.
And you're trying to ascertain what exactly?
Well, because they were saying the caldera is at the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as with things like in our world, like Mount St. Helens, that erupted wrong as well because there was a weak point in the lava tubes, which caused it to go out and not up.
It seems like what you're asking is going to require a lot of hands-on investigation.
Right, but I'm just saying the possibility using like glass blowing as because like pressure in glass, and if there's a fault in the glass while you're blowing, so
Probably
just a similar.
Gonna need a forge.
Right, no, but I'm just using that as kind of a knowledge kind of thing.
Okay, sure. But yeah, you think about the possibilities and you're on the fence with it. Let's go ahead and get your roll though. Let's see what your roll comes out to be.
Right.
It may sway you one way or the other.
It's a 7.
Yeah, you're on the fence about it. You're not really sure. It could be either way.
Yeah,
maybe it could, maybe it couldn't, you know.
Right, but it's still, but like with every good, scientific, thought process, always there's, always look for, you may have a hypothesis, but you also have to test variables.
After all, that's what research is: sharing knowledge with others.
Exactly.
Going through the process of eliminating possibilities.
Right, but it is still a possibility that that's what happened. Is just there was a fault in the volcanic system at this point, which caused the eruption.
Indeed. So, you guys get on board the ship, and before long, you are making your way north. They weigh anchor and set off. Blah blah blah, yakety spackety. We're just going to speed things up a little bit to get this party going. And before long, you guys are fully out in the lake, making your way. The lake is very quiet in the morning, even though the looming of the darkness still persists. The light fog comes up, and as you guys are making your way through, it is a little bit calming.
And I'm sure there's still ash falling, and
mm-hmm. But it's so calming and soothing as you're making your way in the morning, and there's so much quietness. But yes, this eerie darkness, fog of ash, as you said, it surrounds everything, blotting out the sun. But as the sun does rise, it pushes through this cloud and almost like a very red hue, like almost like it's made of blood as it rises through the sky as it rises, giving a bit of an ominous feel, of course. But
start stuff like the deck.
About an hour or so transpires, and you guys are encroaching upon the mountain range itself, and down beneath the mountain range, where there would be a river that comes out, you are actually seeing a large, what looks like a gaping maw of fire. That is essentially where this town once resided. And from this gaping maw of fire, you see protruding out of it is a large, what looks like the mouth of a volcano. The strange thing is although the mouth of the volcano is there and the volcano is, as volcano tube, as you would say, is making its way up, there is a ring of fire at its base. Let me go ahead and get some perception checks from
Ooh. That's a nat one. Coming out to a 6.
Gaia got 11.
So beautiful, I'm crying.
22. I'm getting from Drake.
Yep.
19 from Dal.
19. Lucius?
9 for Kythos.
9. Lucius?
Working on it. Sorry.
I'm just
Oh,
hoping
you're
this
fine.
is not a divine being's hemorrhoid.
Excuse me, what did you just say? Not while I'm drinking, please.
What check was it?
Let's see how perceptive you are.
Gaia got 11.
Lucius has a 21.
All right, so Delmont, Lucius, and Drake. Drake, are you still in earshot? Heard. As I said, you can see the mouth of the volcano, and it's rising up. But you can see it actually rising up, as though it's almost like one of those snakes you'd light on the 4th of July, and the snake would kind of go up. Well, this volcano seems to be emerging from this ring of fire. Okay. And
This is fine.
as you are watching the volcano tube going up, you're seeing coming out of the side of the volcano what looks almost like, it's strange. It looks like eyes, but eyes that are like carved out of rock and stone, almost to emulate that of a skull. As it comes and slowly rises, you can see 2 eyes sit above a nose, led by a mouth, and it continues to grow and grow and grow, going upwards. This is not a volcano. And as you guys perceive that, and you see the structure itself begin to quiver, shake, and quake, and out of the volcano comes a molten hot fragment of rock and fire that shoots out of the tube and lands on the coastline, near the forests, which is not far from where you guys are right now, somewhere in between. But you can see that the rock, it hits and explodes into the earth, sending fire and rock and even parts of trees all over the place. You see it landing into the water. Of course, the bits of tree sizzle, but still are on fire. Let me get some new perception checks. We need a little something, I think.
Hey,
Lucius.
17 this time.
Lucius has the same.
Same thing.
16.
Gaia got 23.
22 again. I rolled a 17 again.
All right.
1 higher. 10.
Total of 17.
All right. Okay. You had I'm sorry. I was fiddling with Roll20 at the same time.
Oh, hey,
I heard
my
Lucius and Greg
perception
said
is a
you rolled the
+5.
same thing, right? So you're over 20. Did anyone else have
Lucius
a...
had. Sorry, Lucius had the same as Gurney, 17.
That's what you meant by the same. Okay. So 17 and 17. Drake, what did you have? You had 22 again?
Yes.
Delmont, what did you have?
Not
16.
16. And Lucius, you said?
17.
And Kythos?
I forgot to add my proficiency earlier. I'm at 15.
Amanda?
I got 23.
23. So all of you see that the fire from the origin from where it exploded, it is expanding from that spot. You guys also see that you can see that the forest is burning, is on fire, and is expanding in strange patterns that are not normal for fire. Okay? Those of you that got a... I'll wait for you to be done. Those of you that got over 20. Okay? It seems that the fire that is expanding from the explosion is actually alive. You see what looks like creatures made of fire.
when you say creatures made of fire. Could you be more descriptive?
Yes, I can. Okay. You see what looks like vaguely humanoid shapes that are completely made of fire, that stand upwards of 10 to 12 feet tall, that are swatting at and touching the trees in the forest and watching them consume with fire as they continue to move outward from the explosion.
Are these
You
fire
see
giants?
2 of them. Roll
Are
me some
these fire
arcana.
giants?
Let me get some arcana checks.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, and that's my answer was roll me some arcana checks.
Oh, another nat one.
14.
Getting all the bad rolls out first, right?
I'm
14.
hoping so.
Don't feel bad. I just rolled a 1.
Yay, the rolled one club.
Anyone else that
For
rolled
total
a plus 20
total-
perception? So, Chris, to appease your curiosity,
We need to stop going on D&D Beyond because I think there's 3 or 4 of us that just rolled a 1.
I got a 2.
yeah, physical dice
16.
sometimes as well.
Yeah, I don't have any physical dice anymore.
So Gaia and Drake, these resemble not giants, although they are gigantic, large in fact. But these are elemental creatures, elemental fire creatures, fire elementals.
So they're like fire elementals, just really big fire elementals.
They're large, yeah.
And they're taking great delight in burning up trees.
Yes, they are consuming the forest from the expanding out from the explosion, helping the fire spread. Lady Alyssa, seeing all this transpire, is like, well, I was hoping that I'd have the opportunity to see the lot of you in action. I feel that this may be a better stage than one could desire. Say maybe you and your group, your fire brigade, could go and see about what this endeavor is as we take a closer look at what is happening here, she says to the volcano. I'll make a boat available for you to make your way to shore, and you can from there see what you can do about these creatures that seem to be coming from this very strange rock.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if you know this or not, but we're not dogs that you can just like point to something and say sick 'em.
I only listen to gold.
She says, you're right. You're right. Dogs only pay with bones. You all pay with gold.
Now we're
What is
talking.
the charge for your services, Mr. Lucius? Is it?
Yes, it is Lucius, but I don't deal with the rates of what we do. I kind of just do the thing. Estelle.
Excuse me? Okay, wait, hold on a second. Wait, give me just a moment, please. So, you, let me see if I get this straight. You orchestrated this whole thing so you could to get me and these freaks onto this boat to take us here, so you can see us work as an incohesive unit to take on things that if you had known they were there already, that we should have been informed in the first place.
I
Just
don't
call
believe
us
that
freaks.
I orchestrated anything. I don't believe that I created a portal to drive a volcano through it and then start spitting fire all over the place. However, I do believe, Mr. Delmont, Mrs. Delmont, whatever it is, that you are the resident fire marshal, and this is not your fire brigade, is it?
No.
Ah,
My fire brigade are 4 other people that are back in town.
so you did not think to bring your fire brigade?
No, because I was under the pretenses that we were here to scientifically examine a volcano.
Indeed. But sometimes changes are
You brought. So I was brought here under false pretenses.
So you're saying you do
That
not
just
wish
doubled
to
my fee.
you do not wish to assist us with the dilemma we find ourselves in?
If you had been more forthcoming on what you were expecting.
I was not expecting a flaming ball of fire to shoot out of a volcano and suddenly slam into the side and have a bunch of fire elementals out there burning the forest, but there it is, and I'm asking for your help. And you were giving me nothing but difficulty. Perhaps.
Because
Right.
you said, oh, well, what was it that you said along the lines of,
Wanted to see us in action.
Yeah, you wanted to see us in action.
I was hoping I was hoping to have the opportunity to see you in action, and here it is.
Considering the fact that you were here a few days after, you obviously have foreknowledge of various events, because you were here to help with the volcano. You set off before anything even happened.
Hold on one second.
Well, they're conversing. Can I roll for an insight on this person that's trying to get us to do this task?
Me too.
So this means that you had foreknowledge of what possibly could have happened. And if you had shared that information, if you had been more forthcoming and honest about your intentions and what you were expecting, then I wouldn't be so disinclined to assist you. I'm not a trained monkey.
For insight, Gaia rolled a 22.
That's a 19.
Hello?
Patrick, if you're talking on your other thing, I think you're muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
She says, very well, if I cannot get assistance from you to deal with the endeavor, we will have to make our way back to port, and I will with our team to do so. Very
Where are we in relation to Red Cloverfields?
About an hour.
And these fire elementals, what direction are they heading in?
Well, let's go ahead and make a perception.
Going?
Anything on those insights?
Now it's a 14.
You see one that's heading north from the explosion, and one that's heading south, which would be actually taking it towards Red Clover Fields.
And
Okay.
what about the insight checks from Chad and?
Oh, I might have been in. I might have been. I apologize. What were the insights for, and what were the checks?
We were checking to see if we were So we were kind of suspicious of this person because of how like coincidental it was that there was these things happening, and she was expecting us to do something about it. So we rolled inside to see if she was like possibly the cause.
I mean, it is very strange, of course. 3 days later, after this volcano erupts, that this noble that was supposed to be there several months from now has suddenly arrived. She did say something about magic being the reason. That they did foresee this possibility. And it seems like she is not alluding to information that she may be harboring. But it is possible that, yes, it is possible she very well could be the cause by the way you are, perceiving.
It's not that she's the cause. It's the fact that she knows what's going on and, set us up.
You as well think that she may very well be the cause as much as anything else. After all, she knows more about this than anyone else so far. And suddenly shown up, precedents, it's possible, as you said.
Could I roll a persuasion and interject and be like, I never said I wouldn't do it. I just said it'd be gold. And because of the situation of not being clear on honesty, I believe that price should be doubled.
Okay. Well, what is the going rate then for your assistance in this matter?
I only got a 3 on that. Sorry, give me a second, trying to breathe.
So she's asking you what are your demands?
I am not sure what they would charge, but based on the size and the danger, I would probably say 100 gold per head. Plus medical expenses, obviously.
100 gold per monster or per adventurer?
That would be Chad's rate, because he is a adventurer extraordinaire.
You're talking about 100 gold per creature you vanquish?
Yeah, and I pointed out, I was like, I don't know what the party would like, but that is the going rate for myself.
Okay. 100 gold. I can do that. Certainly. If you if you are able to vanquish both of these creatures, certainly I will give you 100 gold creature.
I feel like we should, for right now at least, observe and then better prepare ourselves once we get a better grasp of what's going on.
Okay.
And I tell that to Chad too. Like, I get it, like adventure extraordinaire and all, but surely you have to do some kind of preparation for things.
Well, yes.
I'm just not keen on being manipulated.
Indeed.
Also, yes.
No, I completely get that. And that's definitely what it seems like. And I made no attempt to hide that. So, and what preparations were you thinking there, Lucius? To better prepare yourselves, what would you like?
Well, we would need to observe the situation and see exactly how bad it is. Right now, we see two creatures, but we've been here for fucking 5 minutes, and it's already
And
spewed
we're
one out.
watching the planet give birth too.
So
Yeah.
I feel like we're hopefully unprepared, and we need to get a better grasp of the situation before we charge in head first. We don't need to have a repeat of what happened with the spiders in the forest. We went deep in, found out it was more, or the situation was worse than we were expecting, had to back out, and then come back in with a whole other plan. I feel it would
Okay.
be better for the lives of all of us if we started out prepared rather than charging in head first.
So why don't you make me a perception check with advantage this time?
Me?
Lucius,
Okay.
23.
23. Okay. So as you're observing this, you are seeing that the trees are, of course, igniting, originating from the object that, of course, flew in from there. These giant creatures made of fire are making their way north and south, and catching more and more of the trees on fire. And you see this small, forest fire beginning to grow from the origin of the stone or object that is flowing out of the volcano. Is there something else more in particular you're looking for?
Well, so we just showed up, and the volcano is like Dell said, giving birth, but also
Mhm.
B, spewing out monsters. We don't know how
Yes.
fast or if it's only one kind.
At this point in time, you only see the fire elements.
Right, but we've also only been here for a short period of time.
Mhm.
And
As you
yes,
do watch the volcano, or the earth giving birth, as Delmont said, you see rising up out of the ground through this portal of fire, is this, as I described, this head rising up out of this portal with a protruding hand, it seems like, and it continues to grow up higher and higher as this volcano continues to emerge from the hole. It is slow going, but as you watch, slowly but surely, this object continues to emerge from this portal.
so what Lucius is saying is the fire elementals, yes, is a potential hazard, is a problem. It sucks it's burning down the forest. But we've done that willingly once before, only days ago. We need to worry about the thing coming out of the volcano.
plus, with this particular elemental, if it just stays on the shore side of the woods, it's not going to burn anything else because you have roads and shoreline to block it from burning anything else down.
So I feel like fire elementals, though concerning, is secondary to the mountain birthing giant
Fire Titan?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the fire titan that's being, birthed out of a hole in the ground.
It's like popping a pimple.
No, it's after the
So,
pimple is popped and it's that core that's coming out.
Yeah, he's
So
just
is,
squeezing his way out.
our studious Dell, do you have any kind of idea on how fast this thing is emerging?
It's very slow going.
Well, I mean,
And the time you've been there, and
because we've seen it gone from eyes to mouth.
right,
Are we talking like days or hours?
could be a couple of days before it's
That's still pretty
emerged.
fast.
And
That's still
how?
pretty fast. I mean, can I do like a tinker check to, an intelligence based on the size of the head and how much has been shown, if this has human proportions?
Yeah, sure.
How big an intelligence?
Yes.
So that is a 15. He is coming back. I see his shadow. I see the DM's shadow.
All right. And
Now
so
the
what was
DM.
the
So that was a 15.
15? All right. So your intelligence is telling you, from without knowing how big the object is completely, it's hard to say. But from the
Right, but I mean, having an idea of like the size, the width of the head, the spacing of the eyes, the distance between eyes and mouth, I have an idea of if it is of human proportion. I might have an idea of its size.
it may take 2 to 4 days before this object is fully emerged.
Okay. So would I have an idea of how big this thing is? Are we talking like Godzilla size?
It appears to be like the size of like a mountain, almost like you're seeing the peak of the mountain starting to rise up out of it. But you're comparing it to the mountain range that's next to it, and you're thinking that's only about a third of the size of it as it's going up, and you're thinking this is probably going to be just as big as the other mountains that are next to it. So yeah, it could be rather large, but it doesn't seem to be animated. It doesn't seem to be animated. It seems as though the face that is there, it seems to be carved out of stone. It doesn't seem to be
Animated.
Well, yeah, and a baby when they're born, they don't breathe until you slap them in the ass. So. So we still could be seeing this is a newborn titan or ginormous elemental.
So is there going to be a hand that pops out after and smacks it on the ass? Is that what I'm getting?
One hand that was raising up with the head.
Like if that's a baby, how big's that hand that's coming out to smack you?
So we're stealing from Eternals now.
So to give you a visual,
while he's getting us a visual, my big concern is that if these are regular standard fire elementals to our level, that's going to be difficult to handle.
What's the worst that could possibly happen?
They burn us all up and we die.
Bring sunscreen? Question mark?
I like how, despite the vast, we can still agree on some things.
It's nice to have a bit of civility.
I have to get into my old sketchbooks.
So what's our plan of action as of the moment?
Observe.
What magic? Really? Really?
They've dealt with this before, but with different lives.
Really? That's what's coming out? Is that is coming out of the ground here?
That is coming out.
That whole island thing?
Where was
really?
it set?
Yeah, we're not in a position where we can deal with that, actually. That's not something we can deal with. That's
Where was
something
it
where
set
we
at?
it was from the elemental plane of fire. And it was full of demons and devils. And we went with high level characters and dragons and almost didn't make it out.
I mean, where was the pic posted?
It was
It wasn't.
Right here.
window.
It's in my hand.
I'm
This
on
is one of
Xbox, I
those
can't see
things that I actually made by hand years and years ago for a previous campaign that some of these players dealt with. And it's fortuitous that we were discussing a particular character named Bob, which I renamed Ball. This is basically his hangout.
At the Blood Shack. It's a little old place where we can die together.
Which Alia?
Alia wasn't there. Yeah, I
No.
wasn't there.
No, but you've heard stories. Just
Yeah, if
roll me an intelligence.
Who?
You, Alia.
$14. My bonus, it's be at 3, so it's 17.
It seems familiar to you, almost like you've heard a story from your father, right? Albert? Yeah. Him talking about something that similar to this. Whether it's related or not is yet to be told.
Okay.
Okay. So
I need an old goblin and an even older gnome.
Yeah.
So we had a
older
little
half elf.
Stream, but it looks like
No, I was making an exorcist joke.
no, I was just looking at Twitch. Anyway, so with that, well, with all that information coming out, you guys taking a few moments looking at what you're looking at, determining this is not a volcano at all. Some sort of structure, almost like something carved in the side of a mountain, but a volcano all the same. But it's not a normal volcano at all.
Obviously. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. No, please. This is the part where I hand it over to you. Okay. All I can do is lay down the table. Okay. And lay out everything. I've done it. You've got these fire elementals out there consuming the forest area between the volcano and red clover fields, and they seem to be spreading, heading out. One of them's heading south towards red clover fields, as the other one is heading north towards the volcano. Either way, expanding out from the explosion. While this structure seems to be coming out of a portal, that seems to be emanating from where a town once was. How that came to be, nobody really knows either. But it is definitely bringing a volcano with it, whether you like it or not.
So, the fire elementals are hazardous, but minor, because Lucius is looking at this volcano thing and is seeing, at least, we're talking like apocalyptic event that's apparently happening in front of us. And I think we need to find help to prevent that.
And Lucius?
Yeah.
Any of this just between you and me, any of this familiar to you at all? Just think about that, and then that's all I'm going to say. You just chew on it.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to do?
What if I were to tell you, we are the help, and we're screwed?
So she's offered you, Chad, 100 gold per elemental. Well, you have yourself a
Doubled for
job,
the mischief.
but to convince this crew to go, you're going to have to be a little more insistent, it seems, as you're the only one motivated to deal with these. And I don't think you alone is going to be able to stop both of these creatures.
Probably not.
The Chad may see his end.
So were they headed away from the village?
Well, half and half. One of them is, and the other one's heading straight towards it.
Well, we're gonna have to deal with at least one of them. I can settle for that. If one's headed for town, we at least have to deal with that. Unless y'all just want to let them walk through town and we can just rebuild afterward. I don't know about the citizens.
Well, half of the citizens are capable fighters.
So
I mean, I know
fight
one way
it
to
in
keep
the city.
I mean, I know one way to keep the city safe. People aren't going to like it.
Evacuate, like we've been saying.
No. Take out the bridge.
Oh,
Okay, I like
that's
that.
rude.
That's an option.
And that because I'm pretty sure fire elementals don't like getting wet. So without the bridge, it has to go through 30 or 40 feet, maybe 50 feet of water. And up to probably its weight 50 feet of waist deep water to get to us. And that should cool it down quite a bit
Indeed.
before it gets to the town.
Alias says, I personally don't think that anyone in the town, with the exception of a handful of people, like on the island and maybe the mayor's people or a couple extremely advanced individuals that we may or may not be aware of, are equipped to handle these things. We are going to have trouble with one of these things. And I agree 100% with Delmont. I say we get back to the Red Clover Fields and we make the bridge unpassable, because if this thing gets in the town's gone. And most of the people are going to die, because most of the items that people are carrying are not going to do much good against these things. So this is going to burn them to a crisp.
Well, remember too that there's a although retired, a supposedly very capable retired luncheon party there, and the new sheriff and the other one,
troops that were on the boat,
and the Minotaur that didn't become sheriff were all pretty capable fighters. Judge even saved us single-handedly.
So
he's got a few men with him too.
We've stepped away from her at this point in time, right? So we can have a little bit of a private conversation.
Absolutely.
If I may ask, is so the fire elementals that are, the two of them are trees combusting just around them because of the presence of their heat, or is it they touch them and they combust?
Bit of both. Basically anything within 5 foot of them already begins to suffer from it. But once they touch it, it goes up. Yeah.
Okay. So they have like a 5 foot heat, so they already have like a 5 foot combustion zone around them.
Right.
So yeah, nobody's getting near them.
So we should probably talk to the townspeople before we just blow up their bridge? Question mark?
I'm of the opinion that we break the bridge and then rebuild it after.
I like that idea. Safety first.
I mean, I know that it's a 1,000-year-old elfin construction, but I would rather they live than the place just be a barren, scorched hellscape with a little bit of pretty decoration.
Okay, I am all right with that, but you need to get them on our side too, because it's kind of
Oh,
at
that'll
least
be
the mayor. That's why I'm like, as long as we're including the, I don't want a part of it if y'all are just gonna blow this friggin' bridge up and just be like, oh well, sorry guys, and not talk to anybody.
I mean, unless we can get, unless somebody can dig a trench. Wait a minute, we do have people who can magically build trenches.
Brainstorming, see?
So yeah, we just have to build a. We just have to cut a, I'd say, 10-foot wide by 8-foot deep trench around the edge of the bridge.
It beats
Maybe
my idea of
20
trying to
feet
get
wide?
you to make it into a drawbridge where you can lift it apart.
It's solid stone.
It was only a suggestion I had.
So, all right. Well, yeah, I'm not going to go after these guys head on. Think smarter, not harder.
I only drawback I have to this whole trench idea is you're thinking that this thing can't climb down and out of it?
Well, when the trench is flooded,
Yeah, it was like connected to the river and the lake.
How long is that going to take?
well, considering the trench that Lucius carved magically, and if I can get 15 people with shovels and pickaxes, if it's only an hour, if we can hightail the boat an hour, because that's depending on how fast we can get the boat to go. How fast are these things moving? And how far are we land-wise from the bridge?
They're not moving exceptionally fast. It seems like their main objective is to burn as many of the trees and so forth and consume as much of the area as possible. And so they're not heading exactly in a single direction like a kaiju making its way towards, whatever. It's kind of, it's almost like taking a leisure stroll through the forest, only every time it goes and rests next to a tree, it combusts into flame like a Roman can.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to rile any cages, so they're just sitting there destroying the forest?
Yep.
Yeah, just making sure we understood that.
And they're having a great time.
Well, and as long as they're on that side, as long as we can keep them on that side of the river and make sure they can't cross that bridge, fine.
Keep the frontier out there. Nothing to fear here. Just ignore it and it'll go away.
It's defend, defend, defend.
Chad is currently looking at everybody, seeing their facial reactions to what is going on and just observing.
I mean, it's how we don't. I mean, it's the way we ended up dealing with the spiders. Let them, put them in a situation where they can't escape, and just let nature run its course. If it's running down here, we put a lot of water between us and it, and if it, decides to make the trek, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to survive.
Well, also, I think we need to worry more about the priorities, the danger priorities of this. Because I feel like the threat levels of these two things are vastly different.
The fire elemental is one thing. The whole thing that's coming through is a whole different problem because it's full of more of that shit, and even more than just fire elementals.
So, like,
That's a but
in the scheme of things, these two fire elementals are nothing compared to what's going to happen if we don't figure out what the fuck's going on with the volcano.
I agree with that.
So we can get word to the town and tell them they need to defend themselves against a potential fire elemental while we take on the bigger problem at hand. And by take on, I don't mean charge in head first, but try to come up with literally any kind of solution.
Okay, so as you guys are discussing everything, the lady, she approaches you again. She says, take a moment. I'm not used to people questioning me. Taken a bit back. But you're right. If I want you to help, then I want to be as transparent as possible. And yes, I do not believe that this is a minor. There's been occurrences across the world, different occurrences at different times throughout the ages. Make no mistake, we are at war. We have been for some time. We're at war with the forces that are beyond this world. Forces of a creature by the name of Fall. And of course, there is a cult of dragon worshipping and so forth from a particular island not far from here named Zuka Island. And I believe that they are connected. There is reason to believe that that the two entities are conspiring to not only bring the world to a fiery grave, but to bring back a very tyrannical god named as Virtue. Let me go ahead and get some equivalent of history checks from everyone, or religious checks, or even Arcana. You can choose your check you want. History, Arcana, or religion.
Got a dirty 20.
Get a 10.
19.
What skill did you roll? Because I'm sure different skill would give you different information.
Good.
Well, yeah, +3 to every option. So
okay. What are you rolling, and what is the total? Amanda.
History 19. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Amanda. You had said something. What was the check that you made?
I rolled Arcana, and I got a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Chris?
I rolled history, and I got a 19.
David?
History 14.
Chat?
History 10.
Lucius?
I got a 6.
And Kythos?
You are
Arcana 18.
18. All right. Those of you that rolled a history, okay, and those of you that succeeded over a 10, which sorry, Lucius. You've heard this name before. Virtue is a one of three greater gods of Thalia, and Virtue is said to be the father of darkness. as Fixius is the god of light, Bertram is the god of darkness, god of dreams, and god of mostly everything that's vile and evil in the world has origin through him. Those of you that rolled in Arcana, okay, and had a successful over 10, also familiar with this dragon cult, okay. The same dragon cult has been referred to as. Are you familiar? Anyone's familiar with Tiamat? This is on top of the table. Okay.
Yes.
Same basic thing. Dragon cult trying to bring back this dragon god from blah 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 yakety smackety, and essentially they would be bringing back Tiamat. In this instance, bringing back Butcher. Okay. Trying to give him residence here in the material plane. Okay. That's what she believes. And that Ball is somehow tied to it. And Ball is a demon, okay, that has origins from being a half being that rose through the ranks and has been a has origins and ties with that of Cal. Was and ties to bringing Cal to an end, partially. He is pretty old, pretty ancient, thousands of years old, has continued to torment the material plane from time to time, trying to force his way in, and has almost been successful before. Alric, of course, had taken part in defeating him in the past. But yeah, you guys know a little bit about what she's referring to. Because she says yes, there is a war, and it is through the act of many mages throughout the world that help to keep tabs on things. These diviners, we can only be so reactive. We foresaw the portal opening here, near here. In fact, we foresaw it a long, long time ago. That is the reason why Red Clover Fields was founded. There was a adventuring party there that founded this city, waiting for the moment when this portal may arise, not knowing exactly where or when. But unfortunately, this group has grown old and sodden, and they were tasked with trying to bring in a new crew, and apparently they are putting that in the lap of you, and it is not fair to ask someone to do something without full knowledge of their endeavor. But would you take up the mantle of being the protectors of Red Clover Fields officially?
Well, I thought that's what I've been doing since I've lived there.
And now I'm asking you to see if you cannot help us with this endeavor against these creatures, with these fire elementals that are wreaking havoc upon the forest. I do not know what your plans are. I leave you to it. But if you could, of course, keep me in the loop as to what it is you are planning. Of course, I will do whatever I can in my resources, within my power, to assist you in what I believe to be sound.